Yeah, so I hope that we can get the committee's favorable report.
Move favorable.
Second.
Wait, I need to go to the Office of Law.
I wanted to explain the proposed draft two. It has an additional part in here that basically says this exception shall not preclude that council member from exercising the option to be present remotely. So although they may not be here because of the school closure delay or so forth, they will be able to participate or not preclude them from participating remotely. That's the essence of the proposed draft.
Thank you. Any comments from the council members?
Move favorable.
As amended.
Second.
Councilmember Ivy moves. Council Chair Oyata seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll call.
Vice Chair Adams,
Aye.
Councilmember Blagay, Councilmember Ivy,
Aye.
Council Chair Oyata.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
We will now move to CR-026-2026, a resolution concerning County Council rules of procedure for the purpose of amending rules of procedure for the County Council. Ms. Sandra Eubanks?
Thank you. CR 2626 was introduced and referred to the Government Operations and Fiscal Policy Committee for consideration on April 14th, 2026. The County Council Rules of Procedure currently requires a council member to submit a written notice to the council chair and clerk at least 24 hours in advance of an excused absence. This resolution would create a limited exception to that requirement in cases of unforeseen and urgent circumstances, and it outlines examples where the exception may apply. It also clarifies that this provision does not restrict a council member's ability to participate remotely. David Williams, the Legislative Budget and Policy Analyst, will provide an overview of the policy analysis and physical impact statement. Thank you.
Mr. David Williams from the Legislative Budget and Policy.
This, the language is identical to CR 25. This is a county council rule modification, and the Office of Budget and Policy assesses that this will have no fiscal impact. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from the sponsor, Councilmember
Thank you.
Olson.
This is exactly the same as the other one, although I believe this one needs the amendment, needs an amendment. No, it does not.
The amendment was not needed in this
Okay.
instance because I actually put it in.
You put it in.
before.
All right. So this is the exact same as the other one, except for county council rather than district council. Thank you.
Move
All
favorable.
right, we now go to the Office of Law.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, and good afternoon to all committee members. The Office of Law has had the opportunity to review CR 25 and CR 26, and we find it to be legally sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now move
I'll go to
favorable.
the council members' comments, question.
Favorable.
Second.
Hearing none, I'll call for the motion.
I'll make a motion to move favorable.
Second. I thought I moved it, but second, whatever.
We've had Chair Oyata make the motion. Councilmember Jolene Ivy has done the second. At this time, I'll call for the vote, a roll call. Vote.
Vice Chair Adams,
Aye.
Councilmember Blagay,
Aye.
Councilmember Ivy,
Aye.
Council Chair Oyata.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you all very much.
All right, we will now have the budget review, the 2027 budget review for the Office of Finance. You trying to get down?
Everybody knows what this is. You're very good.
Hello. I think everyone's seated. I will now turn to Ms. Sandra Eubanks.
Thank you. Office of Finance is here today for their budget review. At the table from the agency is Linda Allen, the director, Terkesa Green, deputy director, Jacqueline Warner Wiggins, special assistant to the director, and Cindy Bucci, chief of treasury. Roger Benegas, legislative budget policy analyst, will present the agency budget report. The presentation can be found in your binders on page 89, followed by the actual report on page 101. Thank you.
Mr. Roger Agnegas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair, Council Chair Oriata, and members of the GOFP committee. For the record, my name is Roger Venegas, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Mr. Isaiah Joseph. Start off with the office's core services. Actually, first of all, I'd like to thank the Office of Finance for their assistance throughout the budget process. And I'll move on to the core services. The Office's strategic focus for fiscal year 2027 is to continue the implementation of county-mandated tax credits, grant, and incentive programs, including CB 99 2018 and CB 76 2023, the Fair Election Fund. Excuse me. Partner with the Office of Information Technology to continue the transition from legacy systems to the new Treasury management system for property tax collections and administration. Enhance staffing resources to ensure continuity of operations and support efficient service delivery. Moving on to the FY 2027 budget summary, the proposed budget is 7.3 million, which is an increase of 509,700 or 7.5%. The general fund covers 94.5% of the budget, and the special revenue funds account for 5.5%. In fiscal year 2027, the office requests supplemental funding to support fiscal year 2026 increases in compensation and fringe, and it is budgeted in non-departmental in the fiscal year 2027 budget development. The amount is 720,800. Moving on to the general fund overview. In fiscal year 2027, compensation expenditures increase 10.3% above the fiscal year 2026 budget, primarily due to the annualization of fiscal year 2026 and planned fiscal year 2027 salary adjustments, as well as a decrease in the budgeted attrition. The total amount for the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget is 6.9 million, and this is an increase of 908,800 or 15.2%. Fringe benefit expenditures increase 10.9% to align with projected costs. Operating expenditures increase 12.8% over the fiscal year 2026 budget, primarily due to an increase in the OIT technology allocation charge, as well as a contract for legal services. And recoveries increase 5.7% over the fiscal year 2026 budget due to mandated salary increases. The special revenue fund for the Fair Election Fund, revenues decrease 399,100 or 49.9% over the fiscal year 2026 approved budget and reflect the use of a appropriated fund balance. Expenditures for the Fair Election Special Revenue Fund total 400,900. Fiscal year 2027 funding will be transferred to the fund reserves to support candidates for office in the 2027 general election cycle. Excuse me. For staffing, the fiscal year 2027 budget includes funding for 2 additional positions, bringing the proposed general fund staff level to 70 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees. There are 3 vacancies. As a result of the vacancies, current employees already working at capacity due to a constrained complement have had to take on additional responsibilities, leading to increased overtime usage, extra duty hours, and at times, increased backlogs in other areas of operation. Some highlights for the office. They continued commitment to support the cybersecurity self-insurance program to realize anticipated long-term savings on insurance premiums. They issued approximately 250 million in tax-exempt bonds, and they issued fiscal year 2025 annual comprehensive financial report and received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for fiscal year 2024. The office is reporting that the risk management fund balance was at a deficit at the end of fiscal year 2025 of approximately 210.5 million. This fund balance deficit is estimated to increase by approximately 4.5 million in fiscal year 2026 to approximately 215 million. Some anticipated fiscal impacts. The following enacted bills are expected to have fiscal implications for the Office of Finance. This would be HB 842, the property tax exemption property acquired by surviving spouse of service members. This legislation repeals the time limitation for a surviving spouse of a service member who died in the time of duty to claim the property tax exemption. In the line of duty, sorry. As a result, the bill may reduce future property tax revenues and create greater uncertainty in long-term property tax revenue projections. HB 1096, property tax credits, notice through property tax bill. This bill requires the Office of Finance to include additional insert with each property tax bill, identifying property tax credits for which residents may be eligible. Implementation is expected to increase printing and mailing costs for the office. And HB 1148/SB 765, property taxes, tax sales, heirs protection program, and tax credits. This legislation expands eligibility for the homeowners protection fund to individuals who inherit property. And the office estimates this change will increase the county's annual contribution to the program by approximately $64,000. Some challenges and priorities. Maintenance of adequate staffing for current operations and realigning responsibilities as various state and local mandates and new initiatives are passed. Policy uncertainty at the federal and state level, including costs shifting to local governments, and continuous evaluation of office operations to identify areas for process improvement and increase efficiency. Lastly, delays in getting the fund reservation approvals for the tax sale vendor purchase orders. And that concludes my presentation to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll go for comments from the agency representatives. Ms. Linda Allen.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us today to present our FY27 proposed budget. I assume, I wasn't here at the beginning, so I assume the chair is not here today. The chair of the committee is not here today. Okay. But thank you for having us, Vice Chair Adams and Chair Oriada and Member Ivy. I have also brought with me members of my leadership team, Terkesa Green, who's our Deputy Director, Cindy Busey, who is our Chief of Treasury, Cheryl Douglas, who's our Associate Director and Head of our accounting team, and Jackie Warner-Wiggins, who is my Special Assistant.
Well, good afternoon to you all.
Roger did such a good job that I feel like we don't really need to present too much to you, but I will kind of highlight a few things. I don't know if we are going to provide the presentation, but you, I guess, do you have it? Do you all have it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, here we go. This FY27 budget allows us to continue to provide our core services and provide for the public financial stewardship and just public accountability for our financial transactions. And so we'll just, move forward and give you some highlights of the FY27 budget as proposed. Next. Okay. The Office of Finance has three divisions: our accounting division, our administration division, and our treasury division. And we all collaborate across our different functional areas to ensure that we can provide the services that are needed by county agencies and the county and the public. Our administration division is responsible, it's where the director's office sits, and it's responsible for debt management, risk management, our HR and budget teams, and our financial systems team as well. Also in our administration division, we have a legislative support team that helps us review legislation at the state and county levels, and just our financial systems is there as well, that helps to support our Kronos, which is our timekeeping system, as well as SAP, which is the county's ERP system. Our accounting division is structured around our accounting and reporting, accounts receivable, payroll, and accounts payable teams that are responsible for getting our annual ACFR out, which is the annual comprehensive financial report. We make payroll payments to the county's 7,000 employees and 5,800 retirees, as well as provide billing in our AR team for county leases and other accounts receivable areas of the county. And we ensure compliance around grants, tax reporting, W-2s, 1099s, and financial controls. The Treasury Division, which is our most public-facing division, is responsible for tax billing and collections across multiple revenue streams. They also oversee the county's $2 billion investment portfolio and ensure cash flow management through our banking relationships. They also provide customer service and administer tax credits, refunds, and compliance programs in the Treasury Division. Some of our key metrics that I wanted to highlight are just that it basically shows the scale of our operations and many of the direct supports that we provide to the public. And so, as you'll see here, we processed 264,000 payroll payments in FY25, 81,000 vendor payments, 500,000 tax payments were managed through the office, resulting in $2.2 billion in revenue collections across the different entities for which we collect taxes. $111 million was collected in transfer and recordation taxes, which are due when properties transfer or changes are made to titles, which represents $35,000 in transactions that were processed in our office. As you'll see, 19,000 customers were served in our lobby here in this building, and 17,000 calls were taken from customers. Approximately 1,000 of those were Spanish calls in Spanish. For FY27, our strategic focus recognizes really that our people are a crucial part of what we do. It's most of what we do is really supported by our people and our systems and our processes. And so it's essential to us to continue to streamline our processes, use technology where we can, to continue to invest in our workforce, to make sure that we're using best practices as well as technology to kind of improve efficiencies and to continue to modernize so that, we can do things, quicker, faster, and better. I'll let Jackie go ahead and talk about our complement and across our different divisions.
Okay, so we have agency-wide 72 positions, 70 full-time positions, 2 permanent part-time positions. The largest group of employees is in our accounting division, followed very closely by Treasury. We wanted to note that we do have 2 anticipated retirements, and that's a concern agency-wide. We have a very experienced staff that have a lot of institutional knowledge. And so as we're thinking about continuity of operations, we have to consider the fact that a large proportion of our complement could retire within the next couple of years. Something we have to keep in mind.
Just give this to this slide.
Okay. So a very brief overview of our budget, the FY27 proposed budget, approximately 6.8 to 6.9 million dollars, of which approximately half of that is for our Treasury division, 38% for accounting, and under $1 million in the administration division. And if we go to the next slide, we'll see that over 90% of our budget goes to compensation and fringe. So that doesn't leave us very much discretionary funding. That remaining, that dark red portion at the top, that covers all of our contracts. That covers office supplies, equipment. So all of that is in that small red bar at the top. And as Director Allen mentioned, our employees are the biggest, both the biggest cost driver and our biggest asset within our agency. Breaking down the operating portion of the budget, excluding the compensation and fringe, we just wanted to highlight that nearly 60% of that operating cost goes to our technology charges from the Office of Information Technology. And so we are a very technology-heavy agency with payroll, the ERP system, financial systems, treasury. And so again, you see a smaller portion of our operating budget can actually go to the more discretionary expenses. And that is it.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have for us.
Well, at this time, I see any questions? Colleague, go right ahead.
Thank you. I noticed in what was written that one of the problems you're having with losing people has to do with them not being able to work virtually. Is that the case?
I would say that the last few resignations we've had have been for our team that has found other positions that allow them to work remotely. And so, yes, that has contributed to us losing staff.
When they were working remotely, how many days a week did they work remotely?
3 days a week.
And did you feel that they were, their output was up to standards?
We never felt that we had any issues with our employees working from home 3 days a week. Whenever we needed to adjust those days based on operational needs, we would certainly have employees come into the office more days per week. But I think just because of the nature of the work that we do in our agency, working remotely was not affecting our productivity.
Interesting. And it says, though, that you're hiring people, so you're getting new people in.
We have been getting new people in.
And they understand that they have to work, not
Yes.
remotely.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, well, hopefully with the loss of the experience in those roles, that you're getting people maybe who can stay longer. You said that you're having people start to get to retirement age.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Chair, would you have any questions? Well, I just have one really quick one. And that was, how many do we currently have, a ballpark if you have a feel, of those taking the veteran tax credit?
ballpark number for you, but I can tell you that it's hundreds of millions of dollars in tax credits that we're giving for veterans because they have 100%, tax
Right.
relief. So we can certainly get that to you, though, get you the number of veterans that are participating in the program that have the 100% tax exemption.
Yeah, I'm curious what extending it, beyond I guess, removing any limitations would do.
That particular bill is really about surviving spouses of
Correct.
those, right? So I don't know if we've done any actual, I mean, it's hard to say because we don't know how many people will be affected by increasing that or removing that barrier.
Yeah, I
if
was
you
just
will.
curious if we had any historical data that kind of gave you a feel, because as you were talking about trying to extrapolate out the financial impact, I
Yes.
was curious if that would be one way that we could get a feel for that.
Sure.
So in evaluating this bill and just the veterans credit in general, the state manages that. So they are the ones processing those applications, and we have really no visibility in knowing
What
what,
those numbers.
who might be a survivor of a veteran that might then come back and say, well, wait, I'd like to extend this credit, or, I've already been a survivor. So when we responded to the fiscal note, I don't believe we had the ability to give any direct input because we don't have any kind of statistical data to go back and look at for that information.
Now, a question I have is that, do you believe that would be the law, what they're trying to do, would be retroactive?
It's really hard to know. Previously, the veterans credit that we have now, the state gave on a prospective basis. And when they would come through to the county had legislation that allowed them to apply to receive it retroactively for 3 years. Since then, in the last year or so, the state has taken that over, and they're giving it to them effective back to 2019 at this point. So we don't really know if that's what the intent will be or if that might change in the future.
That should make it a little hard for you to figure out. All right. Well, thank you so very much. No other questions? Hey, thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming today.
you.
And again, thank you for what you do and the service you provide. Hey, welcome. We will now be moving on to the agency budget for the Office of Law. Ms. Sandra Eubanks.
Thank you. The Office of Law is here today for their budget review. We have before you Mr. Anthony Jones, the county attorney, Stephen Williams, the principal deputy county attorney, Jonathan Nguyen, office manager, Bernetta Draper, budget and fiscal manager. David Williams, the Legislative Budget and Policy Analyst, will present the agency budget report. The presentation is in your binder on page 147, followed by the actual report on page 153. Thank you.
All right, Mr. David Williams with our legislative budget policy.
Again, good afternoon, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the GOFP committee. My name is David Williams from the Budget and Policy Analysis Division, and I'll be providing a brief budget overview of the Office of Law for fiscal year 2027. Here you can view the agency's mission statement, leadership organization chart, and its primary agency functions. Here you can view some of the office's goals headed into the next fiscal year. The fiscal year 2027 proposed budget for the Office of Law stands at $5.6 million, marking a 16.5% increase from the previous fiscal year. The allocation for compensation is $8.09 million, operating at $702,200, fringe benefits at $2.7 million, and recoveries at $5.9 million. The office has filled 59 out of 66 positions, leaving an agency-wide vacancy rate of 10.6% and a staff attrition rate of 9%, with the positions of attorney G3 and G4 most commonly impacted by attrition. Here you can view some of the agency's ongoing challenges, which center around staffing and individual staff workloads. That concludes my budget overview. Thank you.
At this time, we'll have comments from the agency representative, Mr. Anthony D. Jones, the county attorney.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Adams, Chair Oriata, Member Ivy, and Member Bugay. Thank you for the opportunity to address your committee today about the Office of Law's fiscal year 2027 budget. And of course, I have my team with me, Stephen Williams, the Principal Deputy County Attorney, Jonathan Wynn, our Office Manager, Nisi Draper, our Budget Analyst, and Madison Gray from OMB, who was also on our budget team. But we believe that the fiscal year 2027 budget for the Office of Law will position the Office of Law to meet our legal needs, to meet the legal needs of Prince George's County. It will help us handle more cases in-house, and it will allow us to meet unanticipated needs. Every year we get cases that cause a significant financial impact on the county. So for example, we currently have litigation against the Prince George's County Department of Corrections on the jail's policy for housing inmates, on how the courts place members and inmates in custody. That whole policy is being challenged. And so that's going to require every inmate over the past couple of years. There's going to be discovery about that. That's going to have substantial cost on the county. There were changes to the state of Maryland has had changes to several laws, including the Child Victims of Violence Act, which removed the statute of limitation on cases involving child sexual abuse. So we've had cases going back to the 1970s where people are bringing litigation against various county agencies, saying that county agencies, members of those agencies committed sexual assault against county residents. And given that there is no statute of limitations, that creates a considerable liability for the county that we'll have to address. So we think that the fiscal year 2027 budget will help us just provide a higher level of legal services for Prince George's County. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about our budget.
First of all, thank you for being here today. And we truly do appreciate the services you provide. The county could not function without you. So thank you so very much. Now, along those lines, there's a couple of questions I have for you, and take them within the context that they're given. I know you have vacancies currently. In your budget, have you covered for those vacancies, or are the dollars apply to cover your current staff? Is there a contingency in there to be able to hire new staff to fill those positions within the budget?
Yes, we'd like to fill those vacancies and hire additional staff. As I mentioned before, just the volume of work that we have is so high that we need as many people as possible, both to fill old vacancies, to fill those that have departed, and to fill the other vacancies as well. Because we've had, we have attorneys that leave all the time. We had one that was recently appointed by the governor to the Prince George's County Circuit Court. Others have left to take other jobs. And the reality is that law firm jobs pay a lot more than we do. So we have natural turnover just because people go where they can make more money. And we have other staff that just take other jobs. We've had several that have left to work for the state's attorney's office. So we're looking to fill those recent vacancies and the ones that have been vacant for a while.
Okay, and to put it a little different, the question, in a business environment, we would say, okay, we're going to hire 20 more personnel. So when we build the budget, we would put in the compensation for 20 more personnel within the budget for the fiscal year. And the question I'm asking is, with the vacancies you have you already baked in or put in a contingency fund for the new hires?
Yes.
Okay, and along that line, when you talk about the legal ramifications of some of the cases and things, understanding insurance may be taking care of a portion of that. Do we have a contingency fee? And I don't know if that comes from you, or where would that be to make up for the difference, if there is any, for us as a county to pay?
I'll let the principal deputy answer that question.
Sure.
Turn on your mic, please.
Sure. To clarify exactly how the funding works with regard to the attorneys in the Office of Law, a lot of our budget, if you look at the calculation of the numbers, we don't necessarily budget from our own monies for provision of services. We're one of the few agencies that do what's called recoveries. So for example, a new person, a new entity that is requested to be covered by the Office of Law is the Sheriff's Department. They requested us in January, because of a change in the legislation in October, to say we need people to come to our sheriff sales. There's new liabilities, things that happen in the jail, things that happen here. So what will happen is we work out what that will cost, what we estimate the amount of time it will be for that additional attorney or attorneys, and then we work out what's called recoveries from the agency. So to answer your question plainly, the answer is yes, the things that we have requested are all covered in our budget, but I don't want to, but it shouldn't appear as though it's necessarily from the Office of Law's budget as much as it is just as much from other agencies that provide money to the Office of Law for provision of services. So yes, all the monies are accounted for, but they don't all come from our budget. Some of them are funded by recoveries from the agencies who request services.
Okay, in doing so, and thank you for that, because that clears up some things for me. But do you then project to some of the agencies, like you said, you see legislation coming, some changes coming, do you advise them that they may be needing additional services during the budget? You get what I'm saying? To make sure that they budget for that. I don't want to get caught in the rob Peter to pay Paul kind of thing, even within the agency. And I know you don't know everything up front, but when you find out, or do you have a relationship or with the agencies to let them know what may possibly be coming?
I think the answer that you're looking for, the way you pose it, is no. We have a relationship with the agencies where we provide services to them, but the agencies generally don't cover their own liability. The county does. So our relationship, for the purposes of what you're describing, is with finance and risk management, because we do meet very regularly, usually as much as twice a week, and say, risk management, We have individual cases, Sally and John and such have filed suit against the county. We anticipate that it may be something that will come to a verdict or a settlement in this fiscal year, in the next fiscal year. And so the Office of Law works with risk management to project that out because we are self-insured. There is no insurance company that makes up the difference for losses. So that relationship you're talking about is the Office of Law's relationship with risk management. The agencies, they essentially say, we think we're going to have 10 or 20 or 50 of a particular type of case.
Right.
And we just say, we estimate that the amount of time that we're going to need to cover all these litigations, if you have 10 cases and the average litigation takes us 65 hours over the course of a year, then you need 25 units of time. And in terms of the costs to the Office of Law, that's going to be, we will need this many attorneys or this much support staff. But the amount of services we provide to the agency doesn't tie, there's no tie between that and the outcome, because sometimes we deal with bad situations as they come up. If someone files a lawsuit tomorrow and they want to be in court on Friday, we would never call an agency and say, hey, we need to adjust your number because someone filed a temporary restraining order.
Understood.
We project it out, but we do it with risk management in terms of the dollars and cents. We do the staffing with the agency.
Yeah, and I think a part of what I'm trying to get is making sure that the agencies have an accountability from the budget standpoint and the financial impact of what they do. You follow me along those
Absolutely.
lines? And so when you talk about getting recovery, I'm just wanting to make sure that the agencies take on that financial burden or that responsibility for what's happening in their agency and not just risk management.
Absolutely. And that's what we spend a lot of time on. And that's how in this particular budget, we've indicated that we anticipate that we'll need 3 additional attorneys or 2 attorneys and a special administrative assistant, because the Revenue Authority, because of the number of development projects, for example, has indicated that they need more support from the Office of Law. The Sheriff's Department has come forward and says we now handle certain law enforcement functions for the county police. So we anticipate there's going to be a change in the amount of support we're going to need. And so we will tell them, we will estimate with the agency how much time that is. But in terms of the ratio of how much loss comes to the number of claims, that's an actuarial calculation that's done between the Office of Law and Risk Management. So yes, we do.
Yeah, okay. Hey, thank you very much.
Sure.
My colleagues, any questions?
You covered everything.
Okay, thank you. Well, I would like to say again, thank you so very much for being here. I don't know if OMB would like to make any comments at this time.
Thank you for having me. It's all good.
All right. At this time, then, any more discussion? Hearing none, open for a motion.
Second.
Been moved and properly second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks. The thing.
And thank you everyone for taking the time to come and listen.